Okay, so we will start the session. My internet is not so good. That's the reason why I'm turning off my video. So you will listen to me and we will start with the first session. I'm expecting that you have already gone through that introductory session where I have just discussed about the syllabus. So I hope you have complete idea about the syllabus and you might have already watched some of the videos. So you have some knowledge about sociology already. So we will be starting with the first session formally, and I'll be starting with the first topic, that is modernity, social changes in Europe, and emergence of sociology. Okay, now I got delayed just because I don't have the new PDF. In that, I have updated some notes. Okay, so that is actually there in your application. In the application, I hope all of you have the access to the application where you can see all the classes. So you will see the classes and then you will see the PDF. So you can download the PDF over there and you can share to Google Drive or you can share to WhatsApp or anywhere and you can take the printout also. So it is not required that I need to share the PDFs in the WhatsApp group. So still, I'll try to provide all the PDFs if possible. And secondly, today after the class, I'll share you a link for a Telegram channel. So in case if you are facing any problem in downloading from the application, you will be getting all the materials from the Telegram channel and whatever updates I make in the materials, everything you will get. Okay, so emergence of sociology, this was the first PDF and after this I have updated and the updated PDF is actually available in the application. But today I don't have that in my Google Drive to take for this session. And I'm actually traveling. So I'm taking the class on road only. So that is the reason why my internet is also not good and I'm unable to get that PDF. Okay, but this is enough to explain the concepts. Everything is there in this PDF also. So we will start with the session. The questions will be direct here: modernity, social changes in Europe, and emergence of sociology. So we are going to discuss about the emergence of the subject. Okay, one question is expected every alternate year, and sometimes every year also you will get question from emergence of sociology, but alternate year it is for sure. And from the first chapter, one question is for sure. First chapter, there are three topics: emergence of sociology, then there is a topic on scope of sociology, and then sociology and common sense. From this, one question is for sure, and mostly this is what you're going to get. Okay, and this is direct, but sometimes randomly they will ask you questions like developments in US or America, and then emergence of sociology, and all those questions we cannot answer at this point of time. Here we are stressing on the syllabus only, the modernity aspect, the social changes in Europe, and emergence of sociology. But that questions we will be in a position to answer once we complete the thinkers and the developments which happened in US and all those things, the American thinkers. When we discuss about Mead, when we discuss about Merton, Parson, you will get some idea related to those kinds of questions. Okay, so you don't want to be panic when you see those kinds of questions. Any year they will ask you that, and everybody will be in a same situation if those kinds of questions are asked. But mostly 99% of the time, the questions will be direct in nature. Okay, guys, so you can see the questions here. Modernity, emergence of sociology, the direct one. Impact of modernity, social changes on the emergence of sociology. How modernity and social changes in Europe led to emergence of sociology. Sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. Sociology is preeminently the study of modern societies. So except the last one, if you see, everything else is same. Every questions are same. Every question is talking about what? Modernity, social changes, and emergence. So these are the three things: modernity, social change, and emergence. Now the last question is also similar in this aspect: modern society, that is connected to modernity, but not necessarily with respect to the emergence of sociology. So this have much more to do than the emergence itself. Okay, so in all these questions, if you see, we will stop at the emergence most of the time. But the last question is not only the emergence, yeah, emerged in the context of modernity and social changes, and it is developed. Okay, and we are studying the modern societies. That is how you need to answer this particular question. Okay, so let's look into the topic. The topic will be like this. What I'll do is I'll give you the structure of this particular answer first. If the question is asked what you need to do, I'll give you a flow chart, the structure, and just keep that in mind. And when you write the answer, exactly follow the same thing. Same content is what you need to write. Nothing more you need to add. Okay, and you don't want to read too much also for this particular topic. It is just direct question, emergence. Okay, so since the question is about medieval Europe and modernity, they're actually referring to the period of Age of Enlightenment or the Renaissance period. So in the answer, in the introduction, the first paragraph, briefly, you can mention about the period before that. Okay, before modernity, what was the kind of society? So that period is what we understand as dark ages, right? The European society. So you will write like this: the European society before the Age of Enlightenment. Age of Enlightenment means this modernity, that period, medieval Europe, which underwent massive transformation in terms of commercial revolution, intellectual revolution, scientific revolution, etc. And this commercial revolution and scientific revolution put together, you can say industrial revolution also, because industrial revolution is part of commercial revolution. Industrial revolution is part of scientific revolution also, because scientific advancements are there. That's why machineries and all these things are developed. Okay, so this is basically Age of Enlightenment. So briefly mention about before that, dark ages. Now what do you mean by the dark ages, or what are the main characteristics of dark ages? See, you don't want to write too much about this period. You can say the church preach excessive reliance on religion. So the society was rooted in an agriculture, feudal system, where everything was left to religion. So whatever the church say or the priest say, that's your life. Okay, so excessive religious belief and very orthodox society, and the kings or the political aristocracy was engaged in wars, unmindful of the plight of the people. They don't think about the people, and they simply spend, and they just keep on fighting the war, and they just try to expand their territory without thinking about the people. So that's the period you can say, or you can understand as dark ages. So you need to write this in 1 or 2 lines. How will you write this? European society before the Age of Enlightenment was characterized by agricultural feudal estate system, where the church preached excessive reliance on religion, and the society was very orthodox, having a very much religious view. And the political aristocracy, the kings, etc., they were fighting wars without thinking of the plight of the people. So this period is what historians calls as dark ages. Then from here, what happens is the European society witnessed massive transformation in terms of commercial revolution, intellectual revolution, scientific revolutions. Okay, and you will see drastic transformation in the life of the people. So this period is what you call as Age of Enlightenment. So next you need to write about Enlightenment, okay, or Age of Enlightenment, or the entire period is known as Renaissance period. Okay, now Renaissance period means this is what you need to write. Okay, so you will talk about briefly industrial revolution or the intellectual revolution, scientific revolution, and commercial revolution. Okay, now during this time, you can also say it was coupled with an ideological project, which is known as modernity. Now we are going to talk about modernity. See, modernity means it's a mindset, it's an ideological concept. Okay, it's not like industrial revolution or scientific revolution or commercial revolution. All these are part of modernity, or all these will lead to modernity also. For example, how can you say somebody as a modern man? See, if he is having all the Porsche, the gadgets, all these big good mobile phones, the new mobile phones, the laptops and iPads and everything, and living in a Porsche colony, driving this Rolls Royce or BMW, can you call that person as a modern man? If in case that person cannot treat his baby girl as baby boy, no, right? The society has transformed. So you should be in a position to think rationally and logically. That's when you can say modern man. On the other hand, you see a person who's living in slum without any of all these gadgets or anything, but he is in a position to consider the baby girl as equal to baby boy. then you can say that person is modern. So the point which I want to tell you is, when I talk about this modernity, it is actually an ideology, it's a mindset. Now it is having different dimensions. Okay, so modernity, this is something which is an ideological project, and we can also talk about the dimension. There are different dimensions of modernity. The various dimensions include, you can talk about the political dimension, you can talk about the economic dimension, you can talk about the social dimension, and obviously the intellectual developments. Okay, so intellectual dimension. So intellectuals at that point of time was getting more and more stronger. They started believe everything in terms of reason and evidence rather than simple religious beliefs. So that's the kind of change you will see during that time. Now, modernity, what do you mean by political modernity? Political modernity means that there is a change from authoritarian to democratic setup. So democracy started emerging, or the representative form. Okay, representative form of governance is actually coming. So that's the political dimension. What about economic dimension? Just before, we have discussed about industrial revolution. So that itself, industrial revolution, that led to commercialization. Okay, new factories are coming, new types of accounting techniques are coming. All these are the economic dimension. We will discuss this in detail later. Social dimension, you will see, because of industrial revolution and all, you need skilled labor, so education is getting better and stronger. And also nuclear families emerging because of migration, because industries require free labor, and also migration is required at this point of time, migration in search of good jobs also. So that lead to emergence of nuclear family. Intellectualism, that means everything started explaining in terms of reason and evidence rather than simply on the basis of religious beliefs. So what I was expecting, or what I'm explaining here, is what is modernity. Modernity is simply an ideological project which is having different dimensions. So you will see modern changes in all these dimensions: political dimension, economic dimension, social dimension, and also at the intellectual level also. Okay, but now if you see the question which I have discussed before, what is there? Modernity they're talking about, and then social changes associated with modernity. So what we have explained here is modernity. We have explained it is an ideological project, it is having different dimensions, and all these things we have discussed. Now what we need to discuss, what are the social changes? Now when we discuss about social changes, there are a lot of positive changes, because just before I've told you that European society at this point of time, or before that, was based on dark ages. Now, from the dark ages, everyone want a transformation, right? So it is expected that modernity is going to enlighten the life of the people, and modernity is going to bring the changes among the people, right? So it is actually expected. So if you see, modernity is something which was considered very highly desirable at that point of time, and it is expected that this is going to enlighten the life of the individuals. But that happened, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but at the same time it also came to be associated with large number of social problems, and we are concerned about this. Okay, so I hope that you understood that modernity came to be associated with social changes. It was good, it was considered desirable, but that was coupled with a lot of social issues also. For example, we can talk all these dimensions, all these we can discuss, okay, except intellectual, that we can discuss towards the end, where you will see some social issues. For example, when you talk about this industries, so now we can say there are different macro changes and there are some micro changes. Now what do you mean by macro? Macro means at the holistic level, at the level of society. Micro means at the lower level, at the individual level. So macro changes means at the broad level, there can be some changes in terms of industrial revolution, and also you will see democracy, and also you can see some middle classes emerging. So these are macro changes which was not seen till then. This is affecting the entire system, entire society. Okay, so these are the macro changes. Now, this have some problems also. All of you, please turn off your mic. Somebody's mic is on. Okay, if you want to talk, you can turn on your mic and talk. That will be and it will be better if you can keep it towards the end. Whatever doubt you have, you can just message me in the chat so I can discuss that if you're not able to understand anything, if the sound is not there. Okay, any problem is there, you can message me in chat, and towards the end, whatever you want, you can directly talk to me so we can discuss also towards the end once we complete the session. That will be better so that others, those who understood, they can simply leave the session. They don't want to waste the time. That's how we generally do. Okay, so these are the macro changes, right? There is an emergence of industrial society, democracy, and also the middle class. Now, we will see what are the problems with respect to this, how this emergence of industrial society is going to create problem. Now, what happened is this emergence of industrial society was not that smooth. It came to be associated with some social problems. What are they? The workers started working in a very poor and inhuman working condition. They started working for more number of hours. In fact, they are exploited by the owners or the capitalist. So they are working for more hours, inhuman working condition, and very less wages. So that has created a lot of problems. At the same time, because of migration, all these people started living together near the factories, and that led to emergence of slums in the near the factories. And here, slum culture, you should be knowing, we will be studying later in sociology itself. So that led to emergence of new types of crimes like pickpocketing, and all those new types of crimes have emerged. Now, secondly, because of industrial revolution, because of industries, because of migration, nuclear families emerged. Now, when nuclear families emerged, till then it was joint family, so people lived together. The chances of conflict, the chances of violence was less between family, because the elder member of the family will take care of any such instances. But now the couples will live together. Now the chances of domestic violence is so high, and that even led to breakages and big things. Okay, so the point here is the industrialization was not that smooth. It came to be associated with large number of problems in terms of workers working in very poor condition with less wages and all those things. Slums emerged around the factories. Nuclear families emerged. Domestic violence was visible, and all these led to new type of poverty and deprivation which have never witnessed before. So new type of poverty and deprivation emerged. Okay, now emergence of democracy. So how can this be a problem? Emergence of democracy was also understood or considered as a problem at that point of time, because see, it came immediately after the revolution. So French Revolution. So democracy was established in France, right? But if you see societies like England, the transition was gradual. Transition towards democracy was gradual. But in societies like France, it was preceded by a revolution. So people are uncertain about the success of democracy. People don't know whether it is going to be successful or not. So that created a high level of uncertainty among the minds of the people. And that also created problems in the French society. And you will see immediate context was present in France. And the father of sociology also is from France. So we'll be coming to that. So democracy was in problem because people have apprehension with respect to the success of democracy. All right. Now, middle class, when you talk about middle class, how can this be a problem? See, till then only two classes, upper class and lower class. Now what happened? Because of industrial revolution and all this, new class, middle classes emerged. Their aspiration is totally different than the upper class and lower class. Okay, but the society and the social fabric was already defined and decided on the basis of upper class and lower class. But now, since the middle class aspirations also need to be accommodated in the existing framework, there is a need to redefine the society was felt. Now you need to redefine the entire social order and the structure. So that means middle class created a social divide which was never seen earlier. Okay, so three macro changes I've discussed: industrial revolution, democracy, that is related to political change, middle class, that is related to the social change, and this has come up with some problems. So this was the main problems which has come along with modernity, which is associated with modernity. Now what happened? These problems you need to explain. You need to explain these problems. So till then there is no body of knowledge which can explain all these problems. If you see political science, their subject matter is different. If you see history, the subject matter is different. If you see any other subject, if you take philosophy, then the subject matter is different. All these changes cannot be explained within the existing theoretical framework or within the existing body of knowledge. So to explain all these changes, there is a need to have a new body of knowledge which was felt. So a new discipline is required to explain this, and that is a context for the emergence of sociology. So what is the context? Modernity, social changes, and to explain these changes there is a need to have a new discipline which was felt. Okay, and the initial thinkers like intellectuals Saint Simon and Auguste Comte. Saint Simon even thought of social physics similar to natural science physics because he wanted to make a science of society similar to natural science. Why science of society? Then only you will get that legitimacy. People will get people, you will get people's acceptance. So he thought of a science of society in terms of social physics, but later Auguste Comte not only coined the term sociology but also laid the basic foundation of the subject. So, see, at this point of time, intellectuals started thinking of a discipline which could explain all these changes. So, explanation part is required, provide solution to the problems. History cannot provide solutions, right? Provide solution, and also to predict the future. And just because of this term predict means what? You need to make universal laws to predict the future. That is the reason why they thought of a science similar to natural science, social physics. So this word is very important because we will be coming again and again this topic later. We will be discussing is sociology a science, etc. later. Okay, so that is the context of sociology, and that's how sociology emerged. And then you briefly need to discuss about some intellectual contribution also towards the end of your answer. So what I've told you guys, I'll repeat this. This is what need to be there in your mind. I've started off with Dark Ages. That means European society before the Age of Enlightenment was characterized by agricultural feudal estate system. I've told you the church preached excessive reliance on religion, and the kings engaged in wars unmindful of the plight of the people. And this period is what historians terms as Dark Ages. Then comes Age of Enlightenment. So we have discussed this Age of Enlightenment or Renaissance period in terms of, you see, Europe started drastic transformation in terms of scientific, commercial, and intellectual revolution. And that period is what? Age of Enlightenment. Then we have discussed about what is modernity. And we have also discussed about the four dimensions of modernity. We have discussed about the social dimensions, political dimension, economic dimension, and intellectual dimension. So then we have discussed about the social changes. So if you see the syllabus and the questions, this is what you need to stress more: modernity and social changes. What are the changes? Three macro changes we have seen. What are they? Industrial society, emergence of industrial society, and then emergence of democracy, and then emergence of middle class. Are you not able to see the screen? Can you see whatever I'm writing? Can anyone turn on your mic and say?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Yeah. So are you able to follow me, whatever I'm saying?
Yeah, sir. It's fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then why you are not able to see the screen? Can you just log out and log in again if you're not able to see the screen? So if you see industrial society, then now we need to talk about what? Social changes we have discussed, and we need to discuss about the problems. How this becomes a problem? See, all these are considered, what I've told you is all these are considered highly desirable and is considered as something which is going to change or enlighten the life of the people. But how it become a problem? Industrial society or industrialization was not that smooth. It came to be associated with problems, right? Workers. You can first talk about workers' problem. Workers work in inhuman condition with less wages, exploited, and all those things you can write. Also, you can say nuclear families emerged that led to domestic violence and breakages. Also, you can say slums emerged around factories and that led to new types of crime, pickpocketing, and all those things. All these led to new type of poverty and deprivation, which was never seen. That's the micro changes. Okay, so these are macro changes. These are within that micro changes. Democracy, what is the problem? Uncertainty about its success. People are not sure. Societies like England, okay, it was gradual, it took time, okay, and people got that maturity. But in societies like France, it is immediately after the revolution. Middle class created a social divide. So these are the micro changes. This is what you need to explain. Then what you need to say, now there was no body of knowledge which can explain all these changes. So intellectuals started thinking of a discipline which can explain all these changes, provide the solution. So you need to explain all this, you need to provide the solution, and also you need to predict the future of society, right? So you see this word predict, this is mostly fit in natural science, no, like physics, chemistry, biology. For that, what you need? Universal laws. That is the reason why initial thinkers started thinking something on the line similar to natural science, science of society, social physics. But this is not possible. We will see all those things later in the coming sessions. Okay, so that is how the sociology as a subject or discipline emerged. Now what I'll do generally is we'll dictate the notes. So instead of dictation, I used to just read it out so that it will be very easy for you, and then you just need to go for this once and things will be there in your mind printed. Okay, so you just need to follow that flow chart. That's it, that's enough. Sociology is considered relatively young discipline when compared with social sciences like history, philosophy, etc. See, in case if there is any spelling mistakes or anything is there in this is actually the rough one. It is not the updated one. Whatever is there in your application is the updated one. So here, if there is any mistakes, I can correct it, but you will get the updated one. Okay. As a distinct discipline, sociology emerged as a body of knowledge to undertake systematic study of what people do in their daily life and how they explain their existence. What is specific about sociology, emergence of sociology, is the understanding of developments in medieval Europe. So that's what we are trying to do, which generated the immediate impulse. What is that? Modernity and social changes to establish a separate discipline. Medieval Europe underwent a massive transformation in terms of scientific, commercial, and intellectual revolutions. These transformations gradually accumulated during the 15th to 18th century and brought profound changes in social conditions. You have seen that, right? These revolutions are collectively referred to as Age of Enlightenment, and the whole period is known as Renaissance period. Okay, so this is what the Renaissance period. Now, I don't think that you will face any problem in answering these questions, even with the current knowledge that you have, whatever we have discussed. See, for this question, this is the type of question they're asking nowadays. So for this, what you're studying here is required. At the same time, what you're going to study in the future in the rest of the topics is also need to be accommodated to answer this kind of question. So you cannot completely say this is from emergence of sociology, but at the same time, it is also connected to emergence of sociology. Okay, so direct question is not asking these days. European society before the Age of Enlightenment was based on agricultural feudal estate system. See, this you can write in the introduction or you can write here also, it's up to you. The society was rooted in the orthodox religious political worldview. The church preached excessive reliance on beliefs and political aristocracy was engaged in wars, unmindful of the plight of the people. This period has been termed as Dark Ages. Okay, so this period is dark ages. This is enough for you. Nothing more is required. You don't want to read for dark ages also. Nobody's going to ask you anything with respect to that. Hardly one or two sentences what you need to write. Okay, so Europe started witnessing changes in terms of great awakening in scientific, commercial, and intellectual spheres. This awakening was collectively symbolized through a new ideological project called modernity. Modernity includes different dimensions permeating through each and every aspect of social life. So we discuss four different dimensions. Okay. In broader term, it refers to set of ideas which are guided by assumptions of science. So what do you mean by modernity? These are nothing but some set of ideas guided by the assumptions of science. Now, intellectual modernity, economic dimension, political dimension, social dimension. So, intellectual dimension, faith in science, logical inquiry based on evidence and reason. That is getting more importance during this time rather than believing whatever the priests say or whatever the religion say. You are not going to explain the earthquake on the basis of religion. You are not going to explain rain on the basis of religion. Science is going to explain all this. Economic modernity, rational organization of production, use of technology, rise of companies, expansion in trade, and all those. Political, change from authoritarian to representative, emphasis on welfare of the people. Before I've told you, the kings are unmindful of the plight of the people. Now, it's a social contract, right? When you are surrendering some of your rights, the social contract theory and all is coming during this time. You will be studying about that in your ethics paper, world history, etc. Okay, when you are surrendering some of your rights, what does that mean? Your other rights will be protected by the king. That is a social contract theory. Now, social modernity, emergence of industrial society, secularism, modern education, nuclear families, etc. Thus, modernity project was based on excessive reliance on scientific worldview. Broadly, the modernity project initiated macro changes in terms of emergence of industrial society, rise of liberal democracy, rise of middle class, and emergence of new intellectualism. All these changes accumulated gradually in Europe from 15th to 18th century. These changes were understood as highly desirable, and modernity is seen as something which enlightens the life of an individual. But gradually, number of developments posed challenges before modernity and associated social changes. These developments could not be explained by existing bodies of knowledge, and thus a context for sociology emerged. These developments were. So now what we need to discuss? First, we will discuss about the problems with industrialization, then democracy, then middle class. Exactly the same. The process of industrialization was never smooth. It came to be associated with a large number of social problems. The workers worked in poor conditions with less wages and inhuman working conditions. The slums emerged around factories with poor housing and living conditions. Nuclear families emerged by migration started showing instances of domestic violence and even breakages. New types of crimes emerged. All these led to a new type of poverty and deprivation. The rise of liberal democracy, now the second one, this is also associated with a lot of uncertainty about its success. In societies like England, the transition towards democracy was gradual, but in societies like France, it was preceded by a revolution, resulting in total chaos. Means total uncertainty, total turmoil. The uncertainty associated with its success led to insecurity among the people. Thirdly, we talk about rise of middle class, created a social divide in society which was never witnessed earlier. The aspirations of middle class could not be reconstituted within the existing socio-economic framework. A need for redefining the society and its structure was felt. So three macro changes, and within that, we discuss the micro issues. All these developments could not be explained by the existing bodies of knowledge. So this is the context. So the process of transition associated with modernity was full of challenges having ramifications for the whole society. The European society during 19th century was in a state of chaos, and the intellectuals started thinking of a new science which could explain these changes, provide solutions, and help in predicting the future course of society. Okay, you need to write exactly like this. You cannot change any words. There's a better, well prepared answer. Okay, the immediate context was present in France, which was facing a total political turmoil along with social disorder. The French intellectuals thus addressed this new problem by conceptualizing a new discipline. The establishment of sociology is associated with the works of famous French philosophers Saint Simon and Auguste Comte. Saint Simon initially thought of social physics, a science of society on the line similar to natural science. Later on, Auguste Comte not only coined the term sociology, but also laid the basic foundation of the discipline. Auguste Comte is considered as the father of sociology. So that's about the emergence of sociology. Now we briefly need to also talk about the intellectual contribution towards the end. Okay, what is that? Thus, social change in Europe generated the impulse for conceptualization of a new discipline. Yes, that is what we have seen. But is that enough? Without intellectuals, nothing will happen, right? Along with these social changes, the emerging intellectual context also aided the process. The intellectual context include a well-developed political history, which provided huge data about society and helped in generating a view of society. During 19th century, new methods were devised for investigation, which could be readily used in sociology. For example, survey method was used to study the state of poor during 19th century, which established the possibility of scientific investigation in social sphere. Similarly, Darwin's theory of biological evolution provided an intellectual logic for studying the evolution of society. It has also acted as initial perspective in sociology. You can see the use of this evolutionary perspective in sociology by many of the thinkers that we are going to study. For example, Marx, Durkheim, etc. Okay, you don't want to worry about the thinkers. We are very strong in thinkers. You will not face any problem in thinkers. Take it for granted. Apart from this, general obsession for science during 19th century led intellectual to positively think about a scientific study of society. Thus, you can conclude like this: the emergence of sociology is the result of complex interplay of number of factors, conditions for which emerged during medieval Europe. That's the conclusion. Now, see, they can ask you a question just by putting discuss here. Then you need to write exactly the same. So, complex interplay of, that means interconnected factors, number of factors, and the condition was in medieval Europe. So I hope you understood. In case any problem is there, I'll share with you this video also if it is required. But the video which you have is a perfect video that you can watch once more, so that things will be printed. And if you need a revision class, you won't get for these topics. Already 3-4 topics are over. From the second chapter onwards, you can actually attend the revision class at 2:30 p.m. Okay, every day will be taken by some other teacher. Whatever I am taking, exactly the same thing is repeating. So you may get a different perspective, but in my opinion, these topics are over. It's just started last week, so you will get that access to that class also. Okay, guys, any doubts here? If you want to ask anything, you can turn on your mic and you can talk. I hope you're able to follow this. All of you are silent. So, a very simple topic.
Sir, difference between Age of Enlightenment and Renaissance.
And both are same.
Okay, sir.
Sir, about this PDF, like whatever is available in the Telegram, shall we take the printout of that, or like you will be providing with updated or something? Like I have gone through.
Whatever is there in the application or in the Telegram, both. I will share you the Telegram link today, so you can join there. You will get the notes. Otherwise, application you can take the printout of that. That is updated one.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay. And whatever updation is happening, the current affairs and everything, I'll do it later, and that will be shared in the Telegram channel.
Okay, sir. And so the number of the videos in the app, is it like the combination of both the papers, or is it like just one paper is there? Like I have finished 50%, but
Paper 1, paper 2.
both is there. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
You cleared prelims?
No, sir, I will be writing this year.
Okay.
That this will be my first attempt. Yeah. Like I jumped from a different subject to sociology.
Okay, that's why you finish faster.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, there is one more approach. Like, what you can do is you can watch the video first and you can come and sit in the class. You will get a better idea. It's like you don't want to sit in an entirely strange class, no? So that is the reason why I'm providing all the videos in the beginning. You
Yeah,
can watch
correct, sir.
you can watch the video and then you can sit here, so you'll get a complete clarity. That's for sure. You can watch 1 or 2 times, and then see, you don't want to prepare separately for sociology yourself. Just
Yeah.
attend that and come here, attend this, and if you have any doubt, clarify it, and it's over. Then nothing else is required.
Yes, so that's why I did that, because like it will be helpful in answer writing also. I can start it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that one. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Guni.
Tell
Can
me.
you explain a little bit about the micro changes?
Micro changes means I'm basically explaining the industry. We explained that industrialization is a macro change. So the problem with respect to industrialization, we are going deep down and explaining these are the problems. That's the micro change means. Like problems within industrialization, like emergence of nuclear family, emergence of slums, emergence of crimes. All these are small problems. But the broad one is what? Industrialization. That's a macro. These are micro.
Okay, sir.
Okay, normally we will have class at 7:30 and it will go because 9 p.m. I have another class. So normally it will go till 8:30. In case any doubts is there, it will extend that. Tomorrow I'll deal with scope of sociology and common sense also, if time permit. So if you wish to, those who want to attend the revision class, I'll share you the link. That's a different ID. I'll share you the link that also. Tomorrow onwards, if you want, you can attend. I will also share the Telegram channel link of that ma'am also. Okay, any more doubts here?
Sir, if asked about social changes, then can we write positives about modernity?
What about modernity? Parson.
I mean, modernity has both positives and negatives.
I'm not able to understand what you're saying. I didn't get you.
In social changes in Europe, within that, can we include both positive and negative aspects?
Yes. Positive change also I've discussed. No, I have told you that it is going to enlighten the life of the people, and whatever we have discussed here, industrialization is positive, democracy is also positive, right? Middle class, all these are good only, but it also came to be associated with problems. So to explain the problems only, mainly a subject emerged.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. So if you don't have any doubts, we can stop here for the day. And same ID, I will update you also in the WhatsApp whenever there is a change in the Zoom ID. I will update you that in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So that's it, guys. See you.